All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at our last little intro video to stoichiometry. And our last one here is going to have us looking at how we convert from mass to mass, right? So we're going to have a lot more steps because we're going to have to go from mass to moles, moles to mole ratio, and then mole ratio to grams of our new substance, right? But the good news is we're literally following all of the same steps we've been using previously, right? And so again, our first task, identify what are we given. And so in this particular case, we got 20 grams of hydrogen. That's what we're starting with. And we want to know how many grams of oxygen are we going to need to react with that 20 grams of hydrogen. So equation's already been labeled. We've identified our given and our unknown, or what we're trying to find. So now let's start setting up our dimensional analysis. We've got the 20.0 grams of H2, right? Now I'm going to use the window panes now, right? We got 20 grams of H2. Now, in order to go from grams of H2 to moles of H2, we need to use the molar mass. So we've got 20 grams of H2, so we know 2.016 grams of H2. Sorry about that. The touch screen, there's some options down there, so it's not liking what I've written, so you have to just bear with me there. 2.016 grams of H2 and 1 mole of H2, right? So then we've gone from grams of H2 to moles of H2. Our next step is going to be to get to moles of oxygen. So we need to use the mole ratio. So we see that for every 2 moles of hydrogen, it reacts with 1 mole of oxygen. And then lastly, we need to get the grams of oxygen. So I've got 1 mole of oxygen, O2, has a molar mass of 32.00 grams of O2. And so now I can just solve 20 times 32 divided by 2.016 times 2. And so we just determined that 20 grams of hydrogen is going to require 159 grams of oxygen to react with it. And that's the 3 significant figures because of the 20.0 grams of hydrogen that are listed in the beginning part of the problem. And so that's how we would go from mass of one substance to mass of another substance. So we start with mass of the one substance, divide by its molar mass, multiply by the mole ratio, and then multiply by the molar mass of the new substance, right? And so same setup as before, guys. That was the problem that I worked out for you. There are going to be 6 other problems that I'm going to need you guys to work out on your own, right? So here they are. So same equation. How many grams of water are produced when 4.84 grams of hydrogen reacts? How many grams of oxygen are needed to react with 54.2 grams of hydrogen? And how many grams of hydrogen are needed to produce 1.634 grams of water? I feel like those questions seem kind of familiar. We might have already done these already, and if we have, I'm sorry. And then the last 3, a different equation. All right, so that's nice. So how many grams of ammonia are formed from 15 grams of nitrogen? How many grams of hydrogen are needed to react with 48.3 grams of nitrogen? And last but certainly not least, how many grams of hydrogen are needed to produce 0.914 grams of ammonia? So ladies and gentlemen, feel free to pause the video right now, work out those problems, and then once you have those, come back and you can keep watching through the next stuff. Or if you have questions, make sure you work these out, bring your questions to class, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at them. Thank you guys so much for watching these. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.